Welcome in, ladies and gentlemen, to Sports Time HQ. You already know what time it is. It's going to be the greatest podcast ever. We got ourselves a Dynasty rookie Superflex mock draft once again. It was popular in our last show. We ran it back again this time, the 2.0 one. I'm with my great co-host, Gary. Gary, how are you doing today?
Doing pretty good, man. I'm excited to talk about some of the exciting things that went down in the past 48 hours or so.
Yeah, I tell you, going through the notes and figuring out some notes, like obviously we haven't had much notes to talk about in the past couple of weeks. It's been mainly the draft stuff, but we've finally started to get some notes trickling in, and we're getting a lot of them, and they're big news and notes.
Yeah, there was like a big explosion, like at least in the last few hours, but I think some of the notes that we have dates back to yesterday. So let's go over them.
Yeah, let's get the show on the road. Do we want to talk about the biggest one that happened today, or do we want to
Yeah,
save that a
let's
little
do
bit?
it. Let's do it.
Let's do it. Well, the Cowboys, we already know, was looking into Territoria McMillan in the draft. They tried getting him. They couldn't succeed on getting him, but they wanted to add another wide receiver depth. Who it became, we still didn't know. We knew it would come through the trades, but who was it? And this one kind of shocked me because I didn't think it was going to be the Steelers, but it ended up being the Steelers, who just actually traded for DK Metcalf. Now they're trading away what was their number one player, number one wide receiver in George Pickens. The Cowboys trade for George Pickens and a 2027 sixth-round pick. The Steelers getting a 2026 third-round pick and a 2027 fifth-round pick. We knew that Jerry Jones wanted to add the receiving core, wanted to upgrade it. But how do you feel on this trade, Gary?
I like it for both teams. I saw that the Steelers were kind of growing restless with George Pickens and were kind of fed up, honestly. He doesn't have the greatest attitude to work with. Um, so I think it's good for the Steelers in the sense that they got some value back. Again, the trade market isn't my favorite thing in the world, but I guess they got a third, the very least, for Pickens, which I guess is good for them. I like it for the Cowboys because as much as I think Pickens can be overhyped at times. I think he's much better, like much better as a wide receiver too. So
Yeah,
whether he would have been
I
that
agree.
in Pittsburgh or not, I really don't know with the addition of DK Metcalf. But here he is a solidified wide receiver too behind CD Lamb, and I think that he could be in store for a great year. And I mean, no one's even mentioned the fact that this is by far the best quarterback he's had throwing the ball.
Yeah, and I actually you took those words right out of my mouth because I actually just posted a TikTok recently, and it was how George Pickens he went from Russell Wilson, Justin Fields, they weren't bad quarterbacks, but this year there's a lot of uncertainty to who the quarterback was. But now going to Dak Prescott, who is one of the most paid quarterbacks in the NFL, he's elite. He's been there. He's been able to keep CD Lamb elite, but going into fantasy value, does this hurt CD Lamb's fantasy value, or does CD Lamb's value stay the same? And what's the value for George Pickens now?
Yeah, I mean, I think it definitely hinders CD a tad bit, but I still think he's a solidified first round pick. And as for Pickens, I think whatever his value is, maybe it increases by a round. I wouldn't expect it to jump or go down that far, honestly. I think it improves his status, if anything, because like I said, I think he works better as a wide receiver too. And although that means, you might not necessarily get the target share that he got in Pittsburgh, I think the targets that he does get, he's going to be way more productive. And he's a very talented wide receiver. As long as he can keep his head on the field, he's going to be going up against DB2s with CD Lamb taking the other team's best defender. So I think George Pickens honestly might be a breakout candidate.
I'm intrigued. I'm intrigued by that. Obviously, we're going to have a breakout candidate show later on in the summer. But now going to DK Metcalf, we've seen him thrive in Seattle. He gets traded to Pittsburgh, and we think it's going to be a great two-combo duo. What do you see with DK Metcalf? Because honestly, I'll be real with you. And I actually was trying to trade DK Metcalf away in my dynasty leagues before this trade because I thought DK Metcalf's value was going to be capped. But now that he's the wide receiver one, who wide receiver two right there on the depth chart is Robert Woods. So just an FYI, the talent difference is a big jump. Do you think that sky's the limit for DK Metcalf for fantasy production?
Well, I think there is a limit. I wouldn't say it's the sky if, they have Mason Rudolph throwing the football or Will Howard throwing the football as much as I love Will Howard. He's, 6th-round rookie coming into, a team that has playoff aspirations every year. So to how good he'll play in his first year, if he is that guy for them, I don't know. But if like Aaron Rodgers is to come here, then yeah, I think, that obviously shoots up DK Metcalf's value. But I would be nervous, honestly, if I'm a DK Metcalf owner and the quarterback is Will Howard or Mason Rudolph, whoever the wide receiver two may be. It doesn't matter to me. And yes, there is a big, substantial talent gap from him and Robert Woods or Calvin Austin, whoever's going to end up being that second wide receiver in Pittsburgh. But we kind of saw it last year. As much as George Pickens is a great wide receiver, he was definitely capped. And that was with Russell Wilson throwing the ball. So,
I mean, I think I still think that there is a sky's the limit because I think you can still have a terrible quarterback, and we saw Daniel Jones and Malik Neighbors pop off. But I do think Will Howard would probably end up being the starter at some point. Is Will Howard the future for Pittsburgh? I don't think so. I think they're expecting to maybe not do so good and draft a quarterback in next year's draft because the quarterback class is a little bit better than this year's draft class. But I'm intrigued on DK Metcalf's production because based on this depth chart now, it could go a lot of different ways with DK Metcalf. And we've seen a lot of former Pittsburgh Steelers. Well, obviously DK wasn't a former Pittsburgh Steeler before this, but we saw a lot of them who were wide receiver ones and the wide receiver two would thrive very well. Then when that wide receiver one left, the wide receiver two would turn to the wide receiver one and not really produce. We've seen that with Antonio Brown with Juju Smith, and we've seen it with George Pickens a little bit. I think I love the talent on DK Metcalf, and I think I'd still be willing to draft him as a top 20 wide receiver, top 15, I think.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if I'd say top 15, but probably a little bit after that 18 to 22 range, I guess I'm okay with. I've never really been the biggest fan of DK Metcalf, and I guess he gets himself in a better spot here, not necessarily in terms of quarterback play, but he for sure is going to be the top guy in terms of targets. So
I do want to mention on Pittsburgh's depth chart, look out for Roman Wilson. He was drafted by the Pittsburgh Steelers. I think he's a sneaky one to go look out for because he might be in the waivers right now. And he does show up as a wide receiver 4 in the depth chart, but I think he could easily work up to the wide receiver 2 by regular season.
Yeah, it's possible.
And we know Pittsburgh is great at drafting wide receivers, or at least wide receiver 2s.
Sure.
So just keep in mind. But that is one of the biggest trades, one of the biggest news of the day. But some other news is Dallas Goedert and the Eagles. They've reworked the deal. There's a lot of speculation that maybe Dallas Goedert was going to get cut from the Eagles or maybe get traded from the Eagles if they couldn't rework this deal and the negotiation on the contract. They've reworked it. The news on the deal didn't come out yet, but I think this is a great news for the Eagles. They need pass catchers still there. Keep on having Jalen Hurts with the players that he's been building around and just keep the chemistry going. I think we're going to soon see, though, a tight end coming in for the Eagles, maybe next year's draft, for instance. But I think for fantasy managers, probably trying to sell Dallas Goedert now.
Yeah, and this is kind of crazy that we're talking about this right now because, 4 weeks into the year, he was like the tight end 1, and it wasn't even close. That's how bad the tight ends were, at least to start out the year. They got a lot better towards the end, but towards the beginning of the year, they were horrible. and
Mhm.
I think he only had like, I mean, I think he actually popped off week one. He probably had like an 18-point performance, but the next few were like 7 to 9 points, and he sat at the one spot for a little bit. But now there are talks, that he was maybe going to get traded. I saw the Giants were interested in him. Whether you think they're going to trade interdivision, that's one thing. But
Yeah.
they ended up working out this new deal, and I think it works out for both parties, because I think Dallas Goedert loves being in Philly. He's been there his entire career, and at the same time, he's always been a reliable target for Jalen Hurts. And I think they got him on a cheap deal. So
He, not to mention, he also did beat out Zach Ertz and made Zach Ertz
yep,
lose his job there,
sure.
which is also a crazy thing to see. What else do we have for news and notes? Let's talk about a little bit about Derek Carr first. So Derek Carr is still contemplating on his shoulder surgery. He expects to make his decision sooner rather than later. I'm going to be honest. I think right now he is trying to still see if he can still play in the NFL because he doesn't want to lose his job. And I think he knows that if he loses his job and Shuck does good, that Tyler Shuck will be the successor of Derek Carr in the Saints organization, even though they have to rebuild that team. But I think this is a big move for Derek Carr because this could be the end of his career.
Yeah, and it's good for Saints fans that the Browns just decided to go out and get Deshaun Watson, right? Because they, nobody even decides to talk about this Derek Carr contract that ended up getting signed 2 years ago, which was for 4 years, $150 million,
Horrendous.
which is absolutely insane. But like I said, of course, the Deshaun contract trumps all. So you rarely hear about this Derek Carr contract. But yeah, I mean, it'll be something to keep an eye on, of course, because they drafted Tyler Shuck as the quarterback 3 in the draft. Um, Definitely eye-opening, but a guy that, I heard his name come up a few times, and he's going to be 26 by week one, which is crazy to think
Crazy.
about. 26-year-old rookie. But yeah, man, I mean, this could be end of the road for Derek Carr, and we'll see what the Saints want to do, because if they, find out a way to be able to cut Derek Carr and, not take such a hit, or they're even able to save money, I think they're 100% going to do it.
I think no doubt about it. I think we know that Tyler Shuck will eventually start, if not, because we know if Derek Carr stays and he ends up losing the job, like this is it. But now, can they cut him? Can they save the money on him? What can they do? Because they're in the hole with the money, and they're always in the hole
Yeah.
with the money.
Yeah.
So that's going to be the biggest one. Jaguars, they've released Gabe Davis. Gabe Davis reunion in Buffalo. They need a
Possibly.
receiver. They need a receiver.
They do.
The guy that got 4 touchdowns in the AFC Championship game.
Mm-hmm.
I,
Yeah.
I love it.
I think that he fits like the prototypical wide receiver for Josh Allen, because he's a guy who isn't demanding the ball 24/7, and that's exactly what Josh Allen doesn't do. He doesn't force feed a wide receiver. Even when Diggs was there, he spread the ball around like crazy. Um, and Gabe Davis is a guy that's a home run capability guy, where Josh Allen has probably the best arm in the league. So I mean, I think a reunion totally makes sense. I don't know if both parties ended up on a bad note or anything, but yeah, I definitely wouldn't be surprised if they were able to get back together, because it just makes sense.
Maybe Keon Coleman can actually thrive as a wide receiver 1 if he has some backup receivers that
Yeah,
are actually decently good.
yeah, that's possible as well.
I like Gabe Davis. I think there is fantasy value depending on where he goes, and if it is Buffalo, I'm all over it.
Hmm.
Or even Keon Coleman too. I'd like to take the
Yeah,
chance on either one.
yeah.
Ravens released Justin Tucker after all the allegations he's been getting. I mean, he currently has the record-setting field goal, 66 yards.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, Hall of Famer.
Do you
Although
think
this,
do you think he could lose the Hall of Fame status with this?
I don't, to be honest with you. I really, really don't. I mean, it's definitely possible, but I don't think so. Um, but this last year was kind of rough for him. He wasn't the normal Justin Tucker that we're used to seeing, but
Yeah.
maybe the Browns want to throw $230 million guaranteed his way if things keep looking like this.
That's too funny. That's too funny. I mean, he was a great kicker. Don't get me wrong. Given if the allegations never came up, he probably would retire as a Raven, and he would just become one of the greatest.
Yeah, I mean, I would love to see where he goes now because we've seen him be a game changer for so many years in
Do
Baltimore.
you think a team will sign him?
I think a team would take a chance on him. I mean, let's be real. Like, we've seen so many teams take a chance on guys with reputations like these and for tons of money and, way more important positions. I mean, he's a kicker who's I mean, I don't want to say guaranteed Hall of Fame because, this thing happened, but prior to this, he was a guaranteed Hall of Famer.
Mm.
One of the best kickers, probably the best kicker I've seen in my lifetime. But yeah, I think that if a team is to take a chance on him and he's able to go back to his old ways, he could definitely be a game changer.
I'm intrigued to see because if he does end up finding a home, this could help a team that is in desperate need for
Yeah,
kickers.
exactly.
Let's go on to Matthew Stafford. There was a lot of rumors going around this offseason about whether or not he's going to retire or whether or not he was going to still be on the team. And officially, there was a lot of speculation on the contracts during the combine. Now it's officially been finalized, the contract. He is set to make $44 million this year. Ian Rappaport added that Stafford has already been paid $4 million this season, and the other $40 million is fully guaranteed. In addition, if the quarterback is on the Rams roster at the start of free agency in 2026, he'll lock in another $40 million. He's in line to get paid $84 million over this next 2 years.
Yeah, I actually wanted to talk about the fact that there were two teams. One of the Giants, I don't remember the other team, but I saw a report that two teams were. Did you see the same one? Were willing to throw him
Yeah, I thought it was
$100
the
million.
Raiders, but I'll get back to you on that.
Yeah, it was something like that. One of them was for sure the Giants, but they were willing to throw him 2 years, $100 million, and he shut it down to go back to the Rams. So, hey, if you're a Rams fan, it's definitely nice to know that this guy wants to play in LA for the next couple of years still.
Yeah, it was the Giants and the Raiders who showed interest in him.
Hmm.
So I think, is this a lot of money? Yes, it is a lot of money. But I think if you look at it, he has brought a Super Bowl championship for the Rams. So
yeah, for sure.
I think at this point, if he's willing to go out with the Rams and he's still being paid, and he can still produce, then I think it's by all means, you have to go for it. And you have to give him the shot. He's got the connection. You don't want to bring in another team and then another quarterback and then restart the whole process.
No, for sure. And I mean, considering the fact that both the Giants and the Raiders would have thrown him $100 million, you got him for cheap or cheaper, I guess, than he would have gotten. I mean, 84 million, 100 million, not a crazy difference when you're talking about a ton of money here, but got for cheaper than if he would have gone to the Giants or the Raiders. So
no, I cannot knock you for it. I can't knock you for it. It's a lot of money, but again, the Rams, if you look at it in the long run, save money as well.
Yeah.
Last set of news that I have is the Washington, D.C., the state, Washington, D.C., will be hosting the NFL draft in 2027. It was a big ceremony, big everything to announce this pick. With the 2027 year overall pick, the draft will be in Washington, D.C. I saw the renderings. The renderings look like it's going to be like the view will be really cool. Like to have the draft, to have the Capitol, it looks amazing. I feel like I'm low key nervous about the safety of it, though. I'm going to be real about it.
Yeah, I could definitely agree with that. You know, stuff goes on down there, and especially considering the fact that it's the nation's capital.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people clashing. But maybe that all gets shuts down with an appearance from President Trump and his
Maybe.
Social Security, maybe. But that would also put a lot of people in danger, just
Yeah.
due to the fact that not a lot of people like him. But yeah, cool scene. I want to see. Did you see where they're actually going to set it up, or?
Yeah, I think it like the backdrop will be the White House. Like that's where
Oh,
the
that's
backdrop will
awesome.
be.
That is really cool.
Like
That is really
they'll
cool.
have like lights going out from the sides all along where that water is, and
Yeah.
like it'll look like it's all like columns and everything. It looks
Mm,
really cool. It looks
that's really cool.
really cool. But again, I'd actually love to go to it. I mean, I think
Yeah.
that's what the closest draft that is near us, Gary,
Yeah.
ever.
No, nowhere near here is probably going to host. And well,
Foxborough,
I
come
mean,
on.
right. No, has Philly or Pittsburgh ever hosted, or like recently? I don't know, honestly.
I don't I don't know actually. I feel like I would go down to Miami to go watch a
Or even
draft.
New York.
I wouldn't be. Who would ever want to host at MetLife Stadium? It's
Well,
such an old
you're
stadium and everything.
oh, okay. So I just looked it up. From 1965 to 2014, the NFL draft took place in New York City, but it has since rotated to different host cities. So that's a
Mm.
recent change. I thought that was a little bit
Yeah, I
earlier
thought it
or
was a
later.
little bit
But
earlier.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah,
you know what I meant.
yeah,
Interesting. 2014 is when it was.
yeah,
Well, hopefully Foxborough will somehow have a chance. We're
yeah. I
hosting a
doubt it.
World
But
Cup. We're hosting the World
yeah,
Cup. I mean,
that is true. I did see that. Yeah.
man, it is what it is. But Gary, you got any more news or notes?
I guess just one little thing that I wanted to throw out was like safety Justin Simmons has shown interest in signing with the Eagles. I don't know if that's
Hmm.
going to happen, but wouldn't every NFL player in the league want to sign in Philadelphia?
Would you right now, Gary, take a pay cut to go play for the Eagles?
Depends how significant the pay cut is, but I mean, in the general scheme of things, yeah, 100%.
Okay. I was curious. I would too. I would too, in my
Yeah.
opinion. Again, some people go for the money, but I had to ask.
Listen, it's for me like when you think about it, right? And like I've never had this much money, of course, and I'm not an NFL player, so maybe my view right now is different, but you're telling me like the one thing you want to do outside of course, put your family in a better situation than when you
Yeah,
were growing up.
exactly.
Outside of that, the one thing you want to do when making it into the league is winning a championship, right? Or multiple championships, winning as
True.
much as you can. So if you're getting paid, $50 million or whatever it is it really that big of a deal to go to 40, 45? Like, is it really that big of a deal? I really don't understand it. I would do it in a heartbeat.
Yeah, I would also do it. Obviously, we're not in the shoes of the
Right.
players, and obviously, it does when you're in the moment. It makes a difference. But I mean, it could be easier said than done. You know.
Yeah, for sure.
I feel like I wanted to ask you something, but I can't remember what I wanted to ask you. It was something along these deals. I think the most like warm-hearted person about like money wise, because obviously when you get paid so much money, you end up going to like spend a lot of money or whatnot. I think the most iconic video is still Keon Coleman at the press conference interview, and he asked one of the interviewers, "You know where I got this jacket?" And the interviewer answers something, and he goes, "Nah, Macy's.
Mm,
They got it on the rack. 79.99,
there
eighty-nine
you go.
ninety-nine. Like, damn, which low-key is still a little bit on the expensive side for a
Yeah.
jacket, but it's still not. It's still nice.
Yeah.
But let's go into it. Dynasty Rookie Superflex Mock Draft 2.0. Again, use that code SportsTimeHQ. They'll match first deposit up to $1,000. Gary and I did a little switcheroo here. Last week, I had the number one overall pick. Gary, you had the 7, right?
Mm-hmm.
So this week, Gary now has the beginning draft at number 3, and I have it at number 8. Now the difference between this draft and last draft is there is no 5th round because last week they started this league started drafting defensive players that weren't even on teams. So we're going to keep it to 4 rounds, which a lot of people have only 4 rounds. So I guess we might as well get the thing going. I will say in one league, I've officially seen Ashton Genty not be the number 1 overall pick.
What?
Yep.
What? That's unbelievable.
Big Rice has a question. Are you guys opening up the mock draft for us to join? Big Rice, I got you. I can give you I can drop the link. I'll drop the link on our YouTube in the comments, and I think you could just be able to copy and paste it, I believe. And you can pick any position you'd like. I do want to eventually have it as well, where we have a not listener league, but like where we can easily get someone and fill up all 10 teams. I've done it in the past. It's a fun time. It's just the issue is you have to make sure everybody has like the time to do it. Yeah. Because if I post it on Twitter or X, like 6 hours before, Big Rice. Yeah. Damn, that was quick.
That was quick.
All right. Well, Big Rice is in. He's got the 5th overall pick, and we're gonna get the show on the road.
Let's do it.
Gary, you're on the clock. Ashton Genty did go number 1. Marion Hampton went number 2. I will say, so the person that took Genty was me at number 2 in this draft because I had the number 2 overall pick. Number 1 was actually Cam Ward.
Wow. Yeah. Wow. That's crazy. That's crazy when you think about it.
They had no quarterback.
Okay. I mean, I guess, but I wouldn't have done that at all. I don't think anybody else would have either. All right. So you know what? I don't think I would usually do this, but I saw the latest news come out that he is focusing on offense. And if that is the case, then I think Travis Hunter does have the potential to be the number 1 wide receiver.
Now, I did see this. I did see this, that they're trying to focus him more on the wide receiver. So I do think that's a great pick because he actually have seen fall to number 7 in one of my leagues as well. Yeah, like it was crazy. He just kept falling and falling. I'm like, is anybody going to take him? And it was just crazy. I do have to quickly change this to not a. Can I change it not to a snake? A linear draft because it's not supposed to be a snake draft. I did. There we go. So Cameron Ward goes 4, McMillan goes 5, to Big Rice. Like the pick by Big Rice too.
Sure.
Henderson going 6. I've seen him go as high as 3. I've seen him also go as low as 7. Judkins is right around number 7, 8. I'm here at number 8, and I'll be taking a guy that I've been taking in every league possible. It's Emeka Egbuka. Cannot go against it. Tyler Warren going 9, Caleb Johnson 10, Colson Loveland, Jackson Dart opening up the 2nd round. And I will say it's not usually how it's happened. It's usually been more running backs going 9, 10, 1, 2. So by the 2nd, 3rd pick into the 2nd round, RJ Harvey's off the board, Scadabo's off the board as well. And after those running backs, there's no other running backs really left.
Exactly. And that's why I'm going to go Harvey here. I think it's a match made in heaven, both for me and for RJ Harvey landing in Denver. I think, it might be a scary sight on that football field.
Yeah, I can't go against it. RJ Harvey, I've seen go at number 9 in one of my leagues. Mm-hmm. So, and he's kind of similar stock to Caleb Johnson. They've kind of flip-flopped They've gone 9-10, 10-11, or 10-1. Tyler Warren has been going in the beginning of the second round, and I've loved it because I think he's one of the greatest tight ends. Well, he is one of the best tight ends in this draft, and I think this is just an awesome place to go get him if he falls to the second round. Big Rice goes Trey Harris. Now, Trey Harris has actually fallen to the third round at some points in some drafts that I've been in. Luther Burden goes at 6. Higgins goes at 7. Higgins is right around the 2.5 to 2.7 range. Burden has actually gone, I believe, as high as 2.1.
Wow.
2.1. Yeah. And I think it's really, you kind of see these 4 receivers, Golden, Harris, Burden, Higgins, and even Jack Beck that's on the board still. And you just decide who you like better because they're all in the same tier. And you just need to decide who's better. I'm on the clock here at 2.8. And I will also take a guy that I've been going after everywhere, and it's Mr. Jalen Milroe, of course. It's Jalen Milroe. I can't let you have him, Gary.
That's fine.
Scottibo goes 9. Beck goes 10. Noel goes 3-1. Noel, sorry, goes 3-1. Mason Taylor goes 3-2. Love Mason Taylor. I've been trying to get him in everywhere I can.
What am I thinking of doing here, Freddie?
Man, he falls right to you. He falls right to you. Shedeur Sanders at 3-3. You don't even have to explain yourself, Gary, unless you want to.
We're stopped, baby. We're stopped. Come on now.
Ton goes 3-4. Now, here's the thing. So in one of my wow, what a snipe there. I actually would like to talk about Kyle Williams real quick. I have just seen him in one of my leagues officially just get drafted 2.7.
Wow, that's early.
2.7 is when he gets drafted. Unbelievable.
Yeah, I mean, that is early, but I mean, he could be wide receiver 2. Like, he could find himself wide receiver 2. I think he probably will be by the end of the year.
And we saw him go in the 5th round in our last show with me taking him in the. But he's been one of the guys that's really hard to predict where to go, because if you want him, you might either have to reach for him or you might just have to hope he drops and falls to you.
Yeah.
I'm in this predicament. I'm going to be honest, after the 3.5, if Kyle Williams is and it's gone, Dylan Sampson's really the backup plan for me. After that, though, there's nobody. I'm not really interested too much in anyone else. Royals goes 3.9. Ferguson goes 3.10. Dylan Gabriel still somehow getting drafted at 4.1. Imanor going 4.2 from Tennessee. Gary, you're on the clock. Tell me, what's your thought process here?
Well, I mean, I might as well just get one player at each position, right? And
Harold Fannin, Cleveland. Keep it Cleveland.
Just so happens that this guy's a Brown as well. I mean,
oh my goodness!
What? I don't make the rules. Like, this isn't my fault. I don't make the rules here, Freddie. I'm just taking one per position, man.
You might as well just go all Cleveland here. Should have gone Judkins at 3.
If I was in that spot, I would have taken Jaden Blue. I really like his potential.
Yeah, I do like Jaden Blue. There is opportunity there. Gunnar Helm goes at 4.4. Now, Big Rice has drafted 3 receivers: McMillan, Harris, and Williams. I think I would not be surprised to see him go for one of the running backs in either Neal or Blue. If he's feeling a little bit feisty and wants to go quarterback, I would hope Quinn Ewers is the next one. Or he actually might be interested in go Will Howard. Oh, Giddens.
Yeah, Giddens. Okay.
That's an issue. Honestly, if somehow Jonathan Taylor goes down, he's a good handcuff to have.
Yeah.
Gadsden goes at 4.6. Quinn Ewers at 4.7. Now, I'm on the clock here, Gary. Should I take Jaden Blue? Should I do it? I'll take a guy that I think there is potential. He was drafted so high. He's being really not drafted at all. Somehow Isaiah Bond is being drafted over him. Still don't understand how. Even though this guy, I believe, if I do believe so, he was drafted with the number 70th pick, and that's Isaac Tesla. And bada bing, bada boom, Mr. Worldwide.
You didn't want to draft Will Howard?
I thought of it, but I already drafted Jalen Milroe, so I didn't want to do 2 quarterbacks.
do it.
Will Howard, and Vork still finds a way to get drafted at 410 to close it. How do you feel about this one versus last one?
Yeah, I mean, I love RJ Harvey. I know you do too. I know you just ended up loving whatever running back found its way over to Denver. But I think it's a match made in heaven, and he's a workhorse. And I think the Broncos need that. They haven't really had that the past few years. I think he's going to be 100% able to take over that backfield. And if you are getting him as late as I did at 2-3, I think that is one hell of a steal. And my opinion on Hunter has slightly changed in the sense that I might think that he's the wide receiver one now if he is focusing on offense, like the latest news report came out said, because then you're just drafting based on potential. He's got the most potential in this league, or in this draft. So
yeah, I mean, I can understand you going for Hunter 1. I do think T-Mac is still my number 1. I think long term, we can see Hunter do very well. But Brian Thomas is holding his capital down too, because Brian Thomas is the wide receiver 1 there, no doubt. Amika has the best long-term value with the fact where he was drafted, because obviously he won't be much. So I think these 3 wide receivers are the only 3 receivers that should be going in the first round. I've seen a couple. Sometimes I've seen Luther Burden go right into the 110 slot. Him, Matthew Golden. But other than that, it's really only been running back, wide receivers, and then Cam Ward. That's really it in the first round. Very rarely do you see Tyler Warren also go in the first round. I think right now I'm trying to trade up into the 110, 1-9 just to grab him, even though I'm at 2-2, 2-3, because I'm in that zone where someone could easily take him at the 2-1, 2-2 turn.
Yeah, I think if you're like Team 10 or Team 9, one of the teams that was just in the championship, and your weak spot is tight end, that's just a match made in heaven for you. I mean, you can't pass up on that. Ton of potential there. But one thing I just wanted to throw in as well is that, I don't know if you saw, but Sleeper announced that they will be awarding Travis Hunter points on defense as well. As offense. Yes. So anytime, he catches a pick or pick 6, you definitely get points for that, at least in Sleeper.
But hold on, let me backtrack on this. Is that if your league has defensive players as well?
Nope, I just looked it up.
Really? So you're telling me if he gets an interception or whatnot, and he's still slotted as the wide receiver, and you don't have defensive players, he's going to get the interception? That's really good, honestly. I mean, we might not see much of him on defense this year, because I think they're obviously want him focusing, like you said, on the wide receiver position. But that is a huge thing, because that does change things, because if he can produce on defense as well, he could be a very viable wide receiver.
Let me actually correct it. So they don't have to have defensive players, but there's a setting in the league that you can change it to where he can be awarded for defensive points. So actually Sleeper does not grant that immediately, but they give options.
So the commissioner of the league will
the commissioner can change to where he will be awarded points.
Is the button called Travis Hunter? Travis Hunter?
Right. No, it might just be, obviously he's the only, as of right now, 2-way player that we've seen, but maybe there's just, a stat that says defensive points for position players or something. I don't know. But yeah, I just looked it up, and that's what it said.
Wow. Interesting. Let's talk a little bit though about Big Rice. Shout out to Big Rice Ball for coming on the show. Well, not actually coming on the show, but coming into our draft and joining very quickly too. He drafted T-Mac, Trey Harris, Kyle Williams, DJ Giddens. How do you feel that his draft went in particular? Obviously, we don't know team needs, but I think it went very well. I think he's got, if not the first best, second best wide receiver. I think Trey Harris, I like Trey Harris's value between these four receivers that went around him. Kyle Williams, you could say it's a reach of 3.5, but honestly, it's becoming more of a steal because of how high he keeps going. And then Giddens a dart throw, to be honest. I don't mind it.
I love it, actually. I think he snagged his top two receivers were A-plus draft picks, in my opinion. Like I said, my opinion slightly changed on Hunter, and I kind of just drafted on potential, but I think McMillan has the opportunity to be the wide receiver one, like, a month ago. Um, I would have said McMillan is for sure the wide receiver one, but considering the fact that news has come out, Hunter is focusing primarily on offense. I think they're neck and neck right now. But so that's an A-plus for me. And I think Trey Harris is the most underrated wide receiver in this draft, both as a player and with the landing spot. So I love that pick as well. And we were just talking about it. Kyle Williams, as of right now, I don't know what his role is going to be like on the team. And, of course, the Patriots don't have a great history in terms of drafting wide receivers. But after Stephon Diggs, there's nobody. So he could genuinely become the wide receiver too.
I'm hyped. I think Big Rice did draft a lot of potential players here with the third and fourth, and then two solid ones for the first and second. So, like you said,
Yeah.
I'd grade it an A+. A+.
Yeah, I agree.
For me, Emeka Egbuka and Jalen Milrow are really the only top two guys I'm looking for in the back end of the first and second round. If you're in the back end, you can easily get Emeka at 1.8. I mean, he's been everywhere he's gone. I've tried to get him at 1.8 and not let him slip past that. Milrow, I've drafted actually, I think 2.6, and I actually drafted him ahead of Jackson Dart. I didn't want to take the chance to lose out on Jalen Milrow, and I wanted to make sure I could snag Jalen Milrow. And it's really all in preference. If you like Dart, if you like Milrow. Obviously, I'm always in the playoffs in that league, so I was okay taking a quarterback because I don't need a quarterback right away. So Milrow, if you don't need a quarterback, Milrow is personally, in general, is better than Jackson Dart, in my opinion.
Yeah, maybe.
Samson's good. I love Samson's handcuff opportunity because of the fact if Quinton Judkins somehow does go down, because it's Cleveland and they're cursed. Dylan Sampson's the next guy. He's the next guy there, and he is a beast. I wish he didn't get drafted to Cleveland because I wish he had the potential to actually be a starter somewhere. But I think he is a great third-round draft selection. I mean, I'm probably going to draft him at 32, to be honest with you.
Here's the thing, and I don't want you to take this the wrong way because I'm not going to say their production is going to be anywhere remotely close to it. But I think they're just trying to model the Lions, Gibbs, and Montgomery backfield. I think it's going to take over football within the next couple of years. And I think they're trying to get a head start on it by drafting two young studs that both play differently, but when meshing well or when meshed together, they would play phenomenally well. I'm so excited to see how this backfield does. And I think that there are a ton of opportunities for both players. So,
is that you saying as a Browns fan?
I mean, maybe, but like I also watched both of these guys in college.
I agree, though.
I mean, I just saw, Judkins and Henderson do unbelievable things at Ohio State. And while I'm not going to say Dylan Sampson is Travion Henderson because he's not by any means, Dylan Sampson, when healthy, is a phenomenal running back and was one of the best in the country before he got hurt this past year. So, like I said, I'm excited to see what they do. And I really think that if you're getting Dylan Sampson, towards the end of this draft, then that's a potential home run.
What do you think about Tesla, by the way?
Well, I mean, if the Lions didn't trade 3 third-rounders to trade up and get him, I would tell you you're crazy for drafting him. But apparently, the Lions have a lot of eyes on this kid, and they think that he's going to be good. I saw he's from Michigan. I'm pretty sure he's from Michigan. So, hometown kid. I guess it makes sense that he's drafted there, but at the same time, I don't know if anybody was really looking to draft him at that spot. So I don't think they really had to make a trade move at all. But they got their guy, and if that's who's, going to pick up that wide receiver 3 role, I guess, then so be it.
Yeah, I think it's probably one of the best start throws you can do in the
Yeah,
fourth
probably.
round.
Probably.
Any other players you want to mention before we wrap it up? Dylan Gabriel
Yeah.
getting drafted over Will Howard.
Yes. Dylan Gabriel. That's enough talking about Dylan Gabriel.
Big Rice just realized mid-draft that it was a 10 team and not a 12 team. Don't worry, Big Rice. You still drafted great. It was still overall a great draft from you. I like it. Gary likes it. We both mark you as an A+.
Also, I mean, Team 9, I guess, kind of got a steal with Howard in the fourth, no? I mean, that's just me saying because right now, he'll probably be the quarterback 1 if Rodgers isn't there.
I'll also say Scotabo at 2-9 is also a steal, just based on how the running backs have been actually being drafted in Dynasty leagues this season. I mean, Scotabo I saw go 2-1. So he can go as early as 2-1. He can go as late as probably 2-9, 2-10. I mean, he's got a wide variety. It all basically is based on the teams. If the team really needs a running back, they'll go with Scotabo. But the running backs are very hard to come by. So, again, if you are in the first round and you are in need of a running back and you don't have another pick until mid-round of the second, good luck. Make sure you draft a running back.
Yeah.
That's my biggest takeaway from Dynasty drafts so far. Any big takeaway for you, Gary?
Nah, man. I mean, if you see a player that you like, make sure to jump up for him because, I mean, as deep as this draft is, there are definitely some guys that are built for your team, and you need to go get them, like RJ Harden.
And don't think that a pick is an overdraft of a pick.
No.
Sometimes people will go best player available because they don't want to draft their player because it's too early. Sometimes you get stuck with a guy like Kendra Miller because it was the best player available. And, you get screwed in the end by it. So if you have a guy that you really want, it's okay to overpay. Just like Kyle Williams going at 2.7. Still wild. Still wild. But, hey, if it pans out, and it ends up being a good pick.
Yeah, for sure.
If you haven't done so already, go use that code SportsTimeHQ on Underdog Fantasy. They're going to match first deposit up to $1,000. And again, go to TrophySmack.com/SportsTimeHQ. If you guys use that link, we can start giving away discounts, 50% off rings. Who wouldn't want 50% off rings? You can never go wrong with 50% off rings. But again, you need to go to TrophySmack.com/SportsTimeHQ. We need to hit a certain sell goal for us to be able to start offering discounts. So again, the league's right around the corner before you know it, and start ordering your things early, maybe. Or if you got basketball championship and you're betting on some teammates, we know the Cleveland team will never make it to the championship and win it. We know the Celtics will just repeat once again, right, Gary?
I'm sure you've been watching, man.
Yeah, it's okay. The Knicks, we gave them one game. We wanted to give them one, But I hope the Knicks do not win. Let's just say that.
I do.
Of course you do. Because you don't like the Celtics. Celtics fan.
Sure.
And, you can also get it for baseball. You can get it for hockey. We got the Utah Mammoths. They're officially named.
Yes.
Utah Mammoths.
Yeah, that's
awesome.
awesome.
The name. I wasn't a big fan with it at first, but I liked it.
The logo is sick. The logo is cool.
The logo is really cool. I will say. The logo is really cool. What else we got? Baseball? What's happening in baseball? Worst team in baseball that isn't really being talked about. I actually want to make a TikTok about it. Colorado Rockies. Worst start in MLB history.
They're
4
terrible.
wins. 4. That's crazy.
They're terrible.
Unbelievable. Well, once again, we're here every single week, Wednesdays and Sundays. Wednesdays, we're here at 6 p.m. Eastern Time. Sundays, we're here at 12 p.m. Eastern Time. Again, I was joined by my great co-host, Gary. Go follow him all over social media at GD Picks. I'm your host, Fernando, and go follow us all over social media at SportsTimeHQ, and we'll see you all on Sunday.